Advisory Committee, City of Lowell, for our regular meeting of Monday, July 13th, 2020. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Sue, roll call, please.
Commissioner Cadwalder.
Here.
Commissioner Ellis.
Here.
Commissioner Padula.
Here.
Commissioner Schraven. Here. Commissioners Plank and Chambers are absent, and Chair Barker.
Here. Thank you, Sue. And do we have a motion to excuse the Plank and Chambers?
I'll make a motion to excuse them.
Second.
And discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
They are excused. The approval of agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as written?
I motion for that.
And second?
Second.
And discussion? All in favor of the agenda as written, please say aye.
Aye.
The agenda stands approved. Do I have a motion for the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting from June 9th, I believe it was?
Make a motion.
And second?
Second.
And discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes as being written for June 9th, please say aye.
Aye.
Minutes stand approved. Is there any public comment for items not on the agenda? If it's on the agenda, you don't need to approach us, but if there's anything else. And I would also let everybody know at this point that the agenda will not be up on the screen like it normally is. There's a new computer interaction problem, so, but there are plenty of agendas right out on the table out here, so please help yourself. And again, if anybody wants to stay out of the meeting until their situation is up on the agenda, feel free. We'll make sure people are called and we'll go from there, okay? My feelings won't be hurt, so stay safe. Thank you. Old business, A, Mike Winnick, Ada, Lowell Self-Storage, 2075 Bowes Road, site plan reapproval. Andy, you want to go through it?
Yep, so I'll just give you some quick background here. This was a site plan for Lowell self-storage on Bowes Road that was approved by the Planning Commission in August of 2018. The zoning ordinance requires that following site plan approval, that you must start construction of your project within a year. And you can file for 1 6-month extension. Obviously, we are past the 1-year mark and past the 6-month extension period, which was never applied for anyways. So the Planning Commission needs to basically reapprove the site plan. This is originally this was for a small modification to the existing layout at Lowell self-storage. As you can see in our report from August of 2018, which was in your packets, everything is fine on the site. It meets the standards of the site plan, or meets the standards of the zoning ordinance in the LI district, which is where it's located. So we are not proposing any other action other than to reapprove the site plan with the same conditions that were on it originally. And it's my understanding that the applicant is then ready to start construction here in the next few weeks.
Thank you, Andy. And in that regard, is Mike here or a representative?
Right here.
Can you come on up and just simply give us your name, address, and all that good stuff, and in a brief amount of time, tell us what your intent was.
Sure. I am Mike Winnick. Both my wife and I own Lowell Self-Storage. Our address 2075 Bowes Road. Just due to construction delays through the builder that I want to use, and then of course COVID hitting us. I would have been here sooner than this even. I'm ready to go out there. We're my builder is ready here in the next week or two to start construction.
And really no major changes from what we had here before, is that correct?
From 2018?
Right.
No changes.
Good.
No.
Commissioners, any questions of Mike? Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Anybody out in the audience that has a comment in regard to the Ada Lowell self-storage? Okay, and with that, I would ask for somebody to make a motion to okay the site plan review for the self-storage, the Ada Lowell self-storage area.
I can make a motion for that.
And a second?
Second.
And discussion. Sue, roll call vote then, please.
Commissioner Cadwalder,
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis,
Yes.
Commissioner Gadula,
Yes.
Commissioner Schraven,
Yes.
Commissioners Plank and Chambers are absent, and Chair Barker.
Yes. And with that, the approval is okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Next, we have the B is the Riverview Platts site plan amended, and I think Todd was here. Todd, you want to come on up? And you were here last month and kind of gave us a real brief description of what you're doing. And I'll ask you to cut the brief in half this week.
Glad to.
Thank you. Again, name, address.
Yeah, Todd Shaw, 216 West Main, here Lowell. Last time, Andy did a wonderful summary, and then I addressed any questions, so maybe we could do that again if that works for you, Andy.
Sure.
Great.
Yep, so this is, as you guys know, approved last year. This is the Riverview Flats project here at the old Unity School building. So the original PUD was approved by both the Planning Commission and City Council last year. Then this year, in the spring and summer time, I've been working, he's given me a couple iterations of kind of an updated site plan for the site that has kind of a reconfigured driveway, some additional parking, some building modifications. The property boundary has been adjusted slightly due to a land swap that they completed with the city to acquire some additional land facing the Flat River. And so due to all of those changes, they have to come back to the Planning Commission and go through the process again. So fundamentally, the project is largely the same. It's a, condo development, multi-story condo development, utilizing both bus garage and the school building in the first two phases, and then a third phase, which would be the corner of King Street and Monroe Street that is yet to be specifically laid out and determined. So we provided a report to the Planning Commission dated July 8th that walks through the PUD plan and rezoning standards, and keeping in mind for the Commission that this is an amendment. This isn't like a rehash of the entire project, but we're really just focusing on the changes here. So I'm just going to hit on those in the interest of keeping this from dragging on too long. So
Andy, just a real quick question.
yes.
Do we approve it here or make changes, do any of those kinds of things, or does it go on to the city council?
Yeah, so we have to follow the exact same process as you did before. So you would make a recommendation for approval to the city council or not. And then city council has to hold a public hearing and then make a final decision, because this is a change of an approved PUD. So you have to follow the original process. So whatever decision you reach tonight, unless you're tabling it, would be a recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, thank you. So a couple of observations that we've noticed here is that, so the layout is quite a bit different. If you recall before, there was a driveway that came south up of King Street and then turned 90 degrees and exited onto Monroe Street. That's since been reconfigured, and so now the internal driveway kind of snakes around the east side of both the bus garage and the school building, and so by doing that, they were able to get quite a few more parking spaces in there, and they eliminated the driveway entrance on Monroe Street, and instead they have one on High Street and on King Street. So one of the benefits of that, I think, is that one, obviously it's one less intersection on Monroe, which is probably where more pedestrian traffic is, and two, they were able to get additional parking spaces into the site by doing that. So as I count, based on the previous plan, not including phase 3, they were able to fit 22 additional spaces on here, and one additional garage parking space. So I think that overall is a benefit, because there was quite a bit of discussion by the planning commission and council about, if there's going to be enough parking in this area. So that was a change that we liked. Additionally, the site plan overall still functions largely the same. We're happy with the land use, we're happy with the layout, the buildings look good overall. The reorientation of the driveway and eliminating the King Street intersection is beneficial. A couple of things that we noticed that they'll have to update is the landscaping plan. It's, again, I think it's largely the same, but just because the parking areas and some of the driveways have been reorganized and reoriented, that they'll necessarily need to move some of their plantings around a little bit, so it makes some sense. But other than that, we don't have any other significant concerns on the project, so we did recommend approval of the amended PUD to the city council. We did add some conditions onto the approval. Again, like before, these are conditions that were on the previous application, and it's also worth noting that because this is an amendment, the conditions that were adopted by council last year would continue to be in effect moving forward. So this would not replace those. So all the conditions about sidewalks and about parking and landscaping and signage and all that stuff that we discussed last time would still be in place.
I just have a quick question, I guess, on the floodplain overlay district standards. I'm not sure that I understood those properly.
Sure. So we'll walk through those really quick here. So there are a handful of them. So the first standard just says the requirements of this chapter shall be met, and the requirements of the underlying zoning district shall be met. So in terms of land use, parking, setbacks, all that stuff, but, the overall bulk of the building, layout, lot coverage, things like that, those standards have to be met in A and B. Item C requires that if they need to get permits, they would acquire those from Eagle, which is what the DEQ used to be called. So D talks about the proposed use or structure be designed to not reduce the water impoundment capacity of the floodplain or significantly change the volume or speed of the flow of water. So what the standard is looking at is if you're building something in a floodplain that's going to be a large bulky building, or you're going to somehow be narrowing down the waterway such that the rate that water moves through it increases notably, or you're functionally raising the floodplain for everybody else by filling in a part of it. That's what that standard is intended to address. D.
One of the remarks here also says that we may request a review by the city engineer.
Yep. And he has seen this.
Yes.
Yep. So one of the comments on the previous application was that they had indicated on the site plan and PUD preliminary plan submittal that they were going to employ some best management practices. And so those were not addressed originally, and so we've been working with them and making sure that those kinds of things are addressed to make sure that we're not, discharging anything that we shouldn't be into the river. Item E, again, utility streets, off-street parking, railroad structures, buildings for public or recreational usage shall be designed so as not to increase the capacity of flood or be otherwise detrimental to the public health, safety, and welfare. So again, generally speaking, this isn't modifying anything from the original site plan that would have an impact on that, because most of the changes aren't things that are occupying volume. It's streets and things like that. F deals with specific based flood elevation standards, and so what this gets at is the structural stability of the building itself. So sometimes you'll see that buildings will be designed so that the floodwaters can move under them. So sometimes you'll see like parking on the first floor of the building so that water can actually freely move through it. Or if you don't have that, then your building has to be secured so as to be able to withstand those sorts of things. And that's what the standard 2A is getting at. And B just talks about which of the flood maps takes precedence, and of course, the most recent one would. And that would, and those are all addressed as conditions of approval, and
The prior one.
yes. Yep, so those are all, and honestly, these aren't things that are of huge concern, because these are existing buildings, so a lot of those issues with the floodplain are not going to be made worse because there's not a lot of new building going up here. There's some additions going on to the bus garage. Some parts of the school building will be taken down, so they're actually getting rid of more of the school than they had planned to originally. So the overall trade-off there is quite minimal when it comes to any flood issues. We don't have a significant concern like that.
And we're okay with the photometric plan? Or do they have to update that?
Yeah, so same thing. They will need to supply a new one. I think the one that I had is still from the previous submittal. So as a condition of approval, I think we added that in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, under item 5, please have to run a new photometric plan turned in. And basically with that, we just make sure that the property at the boundaries is not, greater than it otherwise should be. So there's a limit like with any other commercial development. And we're more sensitive to that in residential areas where we don't want parking lot lighting and building lighting and all this stuff kind of lighting up the neighborhood around it. So we'll make sure looking at the photometrics that that's all in order before we move forward.
Commissioners, any questions of either Andy or Todd? Looking good. Yeah, it really is. Any questions from the general public as long as we're here? Okay. Thank you, Andy. Todd, do you have anything you want to add at this point, or?
Well, he did such a fine job, so it's hard to add to that, but he nailed it on the head. The land swap allowed us to redesign things into a little nicer fashion, and we're no longer having a driveway that shines the lights into Justin St. John's house across the street, so it's a nicer design.
More parking, which was a big issue, as I recall, so thank you very much. Commissioners, any other questions?
I appreciate your looking at the plan and stuff. I can see detail and I can see the efforts you put forth. Thank you.
Yeah. Having said that, then I will make a motion that the Riverview Flats site plan amendment be approved or sent to the city council for approval. Do I have support for that? Along with the, along with the conditions, the new conditions attached there.
I'll support.
And any further discussion? Sue, roll call, please.
Commissioner Cadwalder,
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis,
Yes.
Commissioner Gudula,
Yes.
Commissioner Schraven. Yes. Commissioners Plank and Chambers are absent, and Chair Barker.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to take a break at this moment. I'm going to go out to the hallway out there because we will be doing the public hearing for Joyology and Five Lakes Farms, and I think we'll probably do those together. So I'm going to go out there and call people in and make sure that they're here. So I'm going to take about a 2-minute break here.